Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Paranormal Pride. I'm your host, Denise Pridemore, and in the background, you can see my better half, Ron, is back there. So don't be surprised. Yeah. But don't be surprised if you hear questions coming from behind me because it happens all the time. So tonight, my guests are Haunted Soulz Paranormal out of St. Louis area. And some of us met them back in Joplin, Missouri. So mainly Carl, me, Ron, Susan, and Mike, Cassie, if she gets in here. So there's quite a few of us that are going to be listening in tonight. So I'd like to welcome Maddie, and Dan will follow as soon as he can.
Hello.
Hello. So did you come to Joplin, or was it just the guys?
It was just the guys. I am a student, so I go to college. So I try to come as much as I possibly can. But it was them who went to Joplin. And then I joined majorly. So I was going half and half with the company. I was doing school mainly. And then right after Joplin, I actually like fully got into doing the podcast and being uh I guess vice president of the company, I guess I would say.
Oh, so you
Yeah.
got involved and that's it.
Yep, I got involved. Yep. So Dan is my dad. So it's a family company. And he started it and he was like, "What can you do?" And I was like, "I don't know. I'm going into college." Because this company is going on for 2 years now. So I was just starting off college and I was like, "I don't know what I can do." And then now I'm like, "Okay, I can do more." So now I'm like fully in it and I try my best. But it's mainly my dad. So
Well, that's good because at least you answered that question before somebody says, "Where's your husband?" or "Is your husband?" Since you both have the same last name.
yes.
So you guys
Eh,
may not know that out there, but when I sent the message last night, I said, "Do you guys have a last name you want me to use?"
yes.
And
Yeah,
and
both our
luckily, I
last
didn't
names are
bill it as a
fine,
husband
and
and wife.
we get that, and we're like, "Nope, daughter and dad," and they're like, "Oh, okay." They're like, "I'm so sorry." I'm like, "It's fine. Understandable."
Well, it could be worse.
It could be, yeah.
You
No.
know, So I understand. My husband and I are both into the paranormal together, and there's a lot of people in the paranormal that one or the other is involved
Mhm.
in
Yes.
in the marriage relationship. We've got quite a few in here that are like me and Ron.
Yeah.
Um, then you've got the family dynamic where one person is into the paranormal and everybody else in the family's going,
You're
no,
weird.
I ain't in that. And they're my crazy uncle or my crazy aunt or, my
Yeah.
sister who's bonkers, and that's truly how people see it.
Yeah.
So I'm
Don't get
glad
me
that it's you and your
yeah.
dad.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, we call each other crazy all the time, but for a completely different reason. But yeah, no, it's really fun to, be able to do it with my dad, and he'll tell you the same thing too of he's the one that really got me into doing this, and, I've grown up, I never felt weird, and my dad's actually the one who's always like, because I'm sensitive.
Mhm.
He's always the one that's like, "Hey, what are you feeling?" And I'm like, he's like, "Go with your gut." So he's a very encouraging person when it comes to the paranormal, of me being able to do like show my abilities and being able to trust my gut with the paranormal. And he's really been the one that's like, "Hey, like, what's your creative idea of this? What's your. So having your dad do that for you and being able to give you a platform that you can do that, it's really amazing. It's really cool. Just being able to
You know
like
what's
show
funny?
support and
You're talking about this, and this sounds just like the story I heard on Axis last night about Sebastian Bach. His dad supported him 100% getting into music. His whole
yeah.
family did, and it was one of those amazing things that no matter how bad it was, they were always proud of how good he was at what he did. You
Mhm.
know, So it was an actually very good story. I think people should go listen to that. I mean, I was working, I was busy, but
Yeah.
just I heard it all and thought I was really impressed, even though I knew who he was and I just didn't know his story. But
Oh, yeah.
same as yours. I mean, my family was the opposite. It was like if you tell people they're going to lock you away, but of course
Mhm.
was at least I'm going to go with at least 20 years before yours. So
Mhm.
in 1970 anything, you were nuts.
Yeah.
There
Yeah.
was very few mediums and psychics on TV. There were even, I mean, if you were a mentalist, that would get the attention. So, but the other stuff, nope, you're a little bit crazy. And, you know, it was very weird. The only place I felt accepted was like in West Virginia.
Yeah.
So, but that's a whole different story too. So,
Yeah, no, I'm very thankful that and my mom too, she's very much I actually get my sensitive abilities from her side of the family. So it's really she doesn't come on much because she's a little more she's super sensitive, so she gets a little freaked out. But my parents are both like so encouraging about the paranormal. It's like go do this, and when we go on vacation, they're like, okay, where do you want to go for paranormal? And so yeah, it's really
well, we
cool.
got lots of people saying hi to you. We got Susan Tucker
Yes.
and Heidi
Hi.
and Brandy Tata. So we
Yes.
also have Karen Pridemore. She's my mother-in-law, my husband's wife, of course, or mother, of course. And
Yeah.
then Michael and Susan Roberts, they met your dad and the other people that came with them to Joplin.
Mhm.
And so got a good mix of people tonight.
Yeah. Heidi, Susan, and Brandy are listeners and followers of our company and good friends of ours. So, yeah,
I've known
hello.
Heidi for I don't know how long.
Dan says hello, everyone. He's currently struggling across the room.
Oh,
He's getting there. We've been
they have
having
computer difficulties, so we're lucky
oh,
to have one, and
yes.
soon we'll have two.
Yes.
So just give us few more minutes, and
Yeah.
we'll get there. Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, Heidi's been a listener of my show. She's been on my show a couple times,
We
and
love Heidi.
a couple that I can think of. We met in Kansas City when we used to live out there. We
Oh,
just moved to
nice.
Florida last year, so
Oh.
and my husband's actually from St. Louis.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
Nice.
So, yep,
Fellow
up in
St.
Florida.
Louisian.
Yes, I know. I remember talking to your dad, and I don't remember the other person's name, but I do have cards around here somewhere. I still got all those cards just laying around, but I just was really impressed with them when we were at the paranormal conference, and I visited with them for a little bit, but I was busy running around. I mean, it wasn't like it was a huge conference, but I
Yeah.
was busy running around and I'm a social butterfly in public, in
Yeah.
private not so much, but publicly I am.
It's funny because I'm very much of like I have a lot of social anxiety. So when we go to these and I get really bad anxiety when there's like a lot of people in like one space. So I usually am the person, it's a perfect dynamic. I'm usually the person that sits behind the table and does all the transactions. And then my dad, he's the talky person. I'm like, go ahead, do it. You are the people person, do it. Doing the
But you
podcast
seem
has
like
also
you'd be
helped.
fine.
Yes, I'm okay in some social settings. The podcast has definitely helped me be more social and comfortable social talking. And but yeah, he's the more talkative person, which it's his company. So I mean, I'm like, do it, like that's all you. And I'm like, I'll be back here if you have any questions.
So do your dad is a creator then?
Yes, he is. Yes, he is the founder, owner, and he truly is the one who has all the ideas for the company. He will sit there and be like, hey, what do you think about this idea? Hey, what do you think about this? Or trying to always elevate the company or create something that's different out there. And he's usually like, hey, what do you think about this? And I'm like, do it. I'm like, why not? You know? Um, and then I'm also the person that's like, oh, let's choose this. And he's like, okay, that sounds better. But
So,
he truly is the one that does it all.
so does he create equipment for the paranormal or just
Um,
accessories and stuff?
yeah, so he is actually getting more, which he'll talk about this more when he gets on. But he has been making REM pods, and my mom helps out too, because she's a dental assistant, so she can really get the wires. But we've been doing REM pods, and he's trying to do more of like uh, these pendulum things that you can sit there and just hold your hand on, and the pendulum is able to move with your energy without
Mhm.
having to sit there and hold your hand with it. So we're getting more into the whole equipment and making our own equipment. And he is the creative person of side of it, of being like, okay, what can we make our equipment different than other people's, or how can we make it more affordable for people, and not blow everyone's pocket for equipment. So that's him. That's what he does, for the company and many more. But that's his big creation there right now that's been going on.
That would be a good way to go. How can you save these? I mean, because any paranormal team, I don't care who they are, they don't have the money
No,
unless they're on TV making big bucks like Zach. And there's only one of him.
yeah,
There's. I mean, I'm not spending my money, my hard-earned money, on paranormal equipment. So it has to be
yeah,
good priced for me to go and spend my money.
yeah, exactly. And
And
that's the thing for us, is we're like, we've all been there when we're starting out paranormal, and we're like, okay, how do we buy equipment? How do we even get started? Because you have to buy equipment to, start investigating. So he's always like, how can I make it more price efficient? How can I, make it different that people want to spend their money on it? So,
hey there,
yeah.
Dave. I hope you're doing well. But and that I seem to recall, not only did your dad have he had dowsing rods and he had pendulums
Mhm.
and he had accessories. I thought I saw like some funky earrings or something like that. Was that your dad or was that somebody else at the event?
That was us. We also do, like you said, we do the earrings, we do the necklaces. We don't do like the typical ones. We normally stay on that paranormal, horror kind of spectrum of our accessories. So we have a lot of like death moth necklaces. We have a lot of pendulum necklaces. Um, our death moths tend to be very popular. We do pins for like hats or backpacks. Those usually are about, my dad likes to find the weird ones or the unique ones with those. Um, and then we also, with the earrings, or any kind of accessory, it mainly stays on the whole paranormal to horror side of it. Um, and then the necklaces, we have like our cross necklaces, and so
Well,
it's
Brandy
pretty.
says, she says, thank goodness for your dad. He's helping Bella build up her investigation stash, and she's so crazy about her skull REM pod. And then Bella came in to say hi.
Hello, Bella. Hello.
And
Yeah, that's our new skull REM pods. They're really cool. They're actually like a skull, like the skull head and the eyes light up when something goes near it. And there's different colors. So there's like pink, blue, purple, green eyes. And we're in the process of actually making different color skulls with the lights. So my dad's constantly trying to get better at it, but those have been the hot commodity. We've been selling out of our REM pods, and we're going to a big convention soon, and we're like making 50 REM pods because we're trying to
you know,
like
you're,
have
you're
a
go
big
you're
bulk.
going to the Paracon and Paragould. next
Yeah.
week, right?
Yes, we are.
We were supposed to go, but family comes first, so we had
Yes.
to change our plans to go to our daughters. So,
Mhm.
which is fine. I'm good with that. I mean, we really wanted to come, but it was going. We would have had to have driven in a triangle,
Yeah.
and you know that when you're doing that, you're driving way more than you have to.
Yes,
So,
exactly.
and I don't trust people driving.
Nope. Nope.
So
Especially down those 2-lane roads. Those are scary.
it's bad enough we got to go through Atlanta to get there where we're
Oh
going.
man.
Not to get to Paragould. We have to go through Memphis to get there, and Memphis sucks.
Yeah.
Just saying. But you have to leave St. Louis, and that kind of sucks.
Yeah. It's not too bad, but it's a long, boring drive.
You know what? I can't deny that because we met in Blytheville, Arkansas. If you go far enough on 55, you'll go right past it,
Mm-hmm.
right at the state line. So that's
It looks all the same as you're driving. There's no different scenery. It's all just one big scenery.
Well, it gets flat though.
It does. It does.
And I love looking at the cotton plants.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know why that is, but I love looking at the cotton plants. So
Mm-hmm.
we'd like to welcome Dan to the show. Finally.
Hey.
Just so you know, we're docking you guys' pay. You know, you're not getting paid for when you weren't here.
I did it all by myself.
So I don't know if you remember meeting me and Ron at the Joplin Paracon.
Yes.
Yes, I was the one that was running around like a chicken with my head cut off and the opening speaker of Paracon.
How you been?
Fine. Since we last saw you, we moved. We now live in Florida instead of near Kansas City. And I hear that we're going to be seeing Dave in October, so we're excited about that. He's not coming here. We're meeting someplace in the middle.
Are you doing his new TV show?
Hmm?
Are you doing his new TV show?
Dave Glidden has a TV show?
Yeah, he's been going around filming other paranormal groups and stuff.
He'll probably film where we're going.
Okay.
So he's done that to me before. Decided to film at some place that we were at and made me be in there.
Okay.
So it wouldn't surprise me.
I said that we've been trying to look for a location. So doing a video with him.
We can barely hear you.
I'll fix that for him.
Okay, she's gonna come fix you.
I didn't know I need to fix it. Right now, I've got nothing right.
So.
Okay. She's gonna perfectly fix me. I wasn't right. I sound good in my thing.
It's just not picking up.
See, I don't know all that technical stuff.
Oh, well, you can build a REM pod, but you can't teach a guy to use a computer.
There you go. Is that better?
Much better.
Okay. Hey, did you want to close the screen? I got it. It's okay. There we go.
So Dan, how did you get involved in the paranormal?
Oh, let's see.
You sound so much better. I'm the tech person. That's also my job.
Yeah. You're so loud, Madison. I gotta turn you down.
Okay. Yeah, turn me down.
Let's see. When I was a kid, a friend of mine in high school, my first paranormal experience was at his house. His mom was a witch, and they had a ghost at their house, and I didn't really believe it. And she called me in one day, and everybody was outside, and there was nobody else in the house. And she said, "Hey, check this out." And you could hear it walking across the floor back and forth. And I knew nobody was in there because everybody else was outside. And it just stayed up on their second floor. And the two brothers lived up there, Scott and Mike. They both lived up there. And he would protect them. Like he would pace until they were home, until Mike was home from work or whatever. And then we would sit out in the backyard, and they had a pool. And he would, when he was ready for us to go home and everything, he would turn off the pool lights. and everything. And they were in the garage, so there was nobody in the house. They had to go in the garage to turn off the pool lights. So, and then Scott would yell at them and everything. But that was my first experience, and I kind of got into it and got involved. And then, of course, Madison, as a kid, seeing things and, kind of freaking us out and stuff like that.
Well, that's her job.
Yeah. And that kind of got me into it. And then a friend of mine was like, hey, let's go to the Missouri State Penitentiary. I was like, okay. And then I was hooked. And 6 years later, here I am. I have my own company now. So
been there, done that. Been to the Missouri State Pen a couple times.
Yes, it's a lot easier. It's a lot easier when you own your own company that you can get paid to go to these places other than, paying to go to them.
Yeah, yes, I agree. That's how we became tour guides at the Sally House.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Volunteered.
Mm-hmm.
So then Ron was voluntold. I volunteered. And then after that, we were voluntold to do a lot of stuff. But yeah, we did that for 7 years. So we know all about getting in someplace for no cost. Volunteering is one way to do it. Having some business that makes them call you is a whole other one.
Yeah, I mean, I would love here. I don't know how far Maddie told you what we're at, but we are at a haunted location here that we do our podcast and stuff. So when she gets her occupancy permit here, we're going to be running the ghost hunts here. So, which is always nice to have, a place that will let you run their ghost hunt farm and stuff like that. So that's here, so you always want that lovely.
Where is here?
St. Louis Haunted Mansion.
Okay. Where's it located
down in South Broadway, down in the city, St. Louis.
Oh, okay.
Down
so
South
how
St.
far
Louis.
is it from Lemp?
Well, Maddie, what did you say? 2 minutes?
I'd say like 10 minutes from it.
No, it's not 10 minutes. It's only
by the time you
road.
stop by the stop signs and all that, 10 minutes.
It's literally probably about 3 miles.
By the time you run from the homeless guy that's trying to get money from you, it's 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
And it's funny too, because you say that, and we're here working on the building and stuff. So we're walking in and out the door, and then all of a sudden you hear just do somebody knock on the door. Hey, do you got $1? Now they're just knocking on random doors and asking for money.
Yeah, it's
well, I hate to say it, but it's St. Louis.
Yeah.
And then you're down here by the highway, so it's definitely you're real far. You're not far away from Tent City, which is downtown and stuff. So
I am so happy to say I haven't been downtown since the only time I ever go through downtown is if I was going to Kentucky and I was leaving from St. Louis, so I'd be going across 64.
Yeah.
255 I like better, but if I wasn't going that direction, it wasn't worth going. But yeah, my husband's from Florissant.
Oh, okay.
So needless to say, we have a little bit of history in St. Louis, and we're also volunteers, or again, voluntold at McPike Mansion. We're friends with Sharon Ludke.
Now, didn't she just sell it?
No.
Oh, no. That was not McPike. That was the Methodist Church. I'm sorry, that was the church. Sorry, not the Pike McMansion. That was the
Unitarian church, though, in Alton is interesting.
They just sold that. That's the one that sold.
That's the one that sold was the Unitarian?
Yes.
So when we were there, the very first time we went there, they had just found that it had been part of the Underground Railroad.
Right.
That was what, 2009? 2009, I think it was.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Well, friends of ours just went there. It was supposed to be the last ghost hunt that they were supposed to have there because they were selling the building and they didn't know what the new owners are going to do. Kind of like Mineral Springs. They sold that building.
Mineral Springs has been yes, no for years and years on ghost hunts.
Yeah, they just sold that building and we don't know what's going on with that either.
Who bought it?
I have no idea who bought it. I know Dave and Donna was running it,
Right.
and they're who Ratings Inn, who owns Ratings Inn there, and
Mhm.
they just were tired of driving 3 hours round trip to go to the store and their stuff. So they opened another Ratings Inn out by where they live, which is like an hour and a half away. And then they said
Yeah.
Dave sold Troy the museum, and they sold the building, and they said the new owners, they didn't know what the new owners were going to do. So I
Yeah.
know
I've
Troy's doing
interviewed.
his thing there right now. So I don't know if they're going to give it exclusively to Troy or they're going to open it up for other.
I remember when Antoinette used to run her tours out of there.
That was before my time. I don't know who she
Yeah, I
is.
know. Well, I've interviewed Dave a couple times, and he is a very great interviewee.
Yes.
He knows his stuff. He does his research. He makes sure that he knows what he's talking about before he opens his mouth. And so I always like that about him. And then we were really close friends with Coyote Chris. And more than likely, if you went to It's Raining Zen, then you've probably seen a picture of at least seen a picture of Coyote Chris.
Okay.
They were good friends. If you saw the Ghost Adventures of Mineral Springs, Chris was on that.
Oh, okay.
He lived there, and he lived there in the area. He was also a volunteer at McPike. That's how we met. So he was a good guy. I really miss him. If you never got to meet him, you're missing out. So
I'll have to ask Dave. Actually, Dave came out of retirement to talk to us. He when he sold, him and Donna was done with the whole. They opened up their new store. Dave was done with Mineral Springs. He said he retired. He's like, I'm not doing no more interviews. I'm not doing any more ghost hunts, nothing like that. And Donna was like really upset and stuff. And I was talking to Donna. We were supposed to have an event there on the end of March.
Mhm.
And I was like, Donna, can Dave do a podcast, come on our podcast, talk about the building? She's like, oh, I just don't know. I'm like, oh, I was like, well, I thought, and then she's like, well, I'll try to talk him into it. So we really didn't have a guest. And then that day she's like, he just is not really into it and everything. And I was like, oh, I was like, darn it. I was like, we don't have a guest now. I was like, it's okay. Tell him I appreciate it. And like a half an hour later, he's like, she texted me and was like, he said he's going to do it. He's going to come out and do this one and, be like the farewell kind of thing. And he came on and said, you pulled me out of retirement. This is my last time I'm going to talk to anybody and everything. And then the last thing I heard, she said that he had texted me the next day and said, thank you for making me come on the show. He goes, I really kind of felt that fire again in my stomach again and stuff. And then Donna texted me a couple of days later and she said that he's kind of like got back onto that footing of wanting to do it again and, investigating and stuff like that. So
yeah,
he was just kind of burnt out, I think, of it with the whole Mineral Springs and the museum and all that stuff. So
I mean,
I think
you've got all kinds of. I mean, Mineral Springs has been on the map, the haunted map, for more than 40 years.
Yeah.
So you have got a lot of history there. That
have you? Well, you haven't been there since they put the museums in, have you? So Dave had his a soul asylum, and then he sold it to Troy. So Dave brought in all this. Yeah. So Dave brought all this haunted and creepy stuff in to the museum and opened up an oddity museum. Well, he sold it to Troy. Now Troy's even brought his stuff also. And now it's like these spirits are just butting heads now with the old ones because
it's like West Side Story.
Yeah, like West Side Story.
Isn't
right.
The museum, you come in and you go past the first door, but it's like this long hall.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, it was there.
Yes.
It was there.
Yes.
Because there was
so now that
there was a fee to go in, and it's like, I don't need to see that stuff.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it's kind of cool. I mean, some of the stuff that he has, like he has an autopsy table from the old Pittsburgh Mental Hospital, and it still has the hair and flesh in the drain pipe, and they have the pipe sitting up on top of and you could still see the gunk inside the drain pipe of like human hair and stuff that they had like washed down into and stuff, and just all kinds of weird haunted stuff that they have. But they brought all these different spirits in, and like Maddie said, it's like West Side Story. They're trying to fight for territory. They don't know, the other ones that have been there forever are like, hey, this is like our, and new ones have come in, and it's crazy. It's the energy there is totally different than what it used to be.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, when we went, the very first time we went, we didn't go on a paranormal investigation. We were just walking around. When I had to go to the bathroom when we were there, and I didn't know anything about the building other than the dumb stories that got them on the map, that there was really no proof of, the legends of stuff. And I go to the bathroom, and then the light goes off. It was, downtown was flooded, so it was humid as hell, so it was hot, and
kind of like last week.
Well, yeah, like last week. Or next week. Next week's going to be flooded probably. But yeah, it was, the lights went off in the bathroom, and then I turned on the water to wash my hands and stuff, and the light came on, because I'd never been there. I should have known, I washed my hands, and the light comes back on, and Ron's in the hallway. So, but there's nobody else in the building. Even the barber wasn't there. So the only people that were in the building were way up in the front, and it wasn't It's Raining Zen then. It was something else. So it was a unusual place. We didn't know where the swimming pools were. We didn't know where anything else was. We just kind of walked around and then left. Next time we went on to a paranormal conference that was there, Haunted Road Media Paracon, the first one, which is where we met Tom McNicholas, who's in the chat room right now, along with a lot of other people. And we went on the paranormal tour hunt that night, and we had a really good time, except for the team that was supposed to be taking us around abandoned us, and we ended up with another tour guide who'd happened to pay to be on the tour, who took us around, okay, which actually ended up being better because we didn't get all the crap stories, but yeah, we had a lot of weird things happen before we even got there. I can't remember the lady's name that came to me, but she kept telling me that they called her the wrong name. They called her by her first name, and she went by her middle name, or she went by her, or vice versa. And
trying to think what lady would have been.
She was the one that died upstairs.
Pearl?
Yeah. She said she went by a different name. Started with an L. I think it was Leona. It may have been. I'd have to look and see what I wrote down.
Well, her husband has shown up lately. We've noticed that all of a sudden George is showing up. Though we don't know where he came from, if he decided that he finally found the place after he passed or what. But you get up there and you can hear them on the Phasma box arguing. They'll get on there, and all you hear is a man and a woman arguing upstairs, and they won't pay attention to you. They just keep arguing, and it sounds like Pearl and George are up there arguing with each other and stuff. So that's what normally that's what happened. That's why she lived there, was he beat her and stuff. So no telling.
Yeah, it's when we were there again. This was in June. For some reason, we always have to go in June. But we were always in Alton in June because there used to be a camp out in June at McPike Mansion. So we just got used to going around that time of year to Alton. So that's what we did. And there was no air movement upstairs. So
Yeah, it's pretty.
It was stifling hot.
Yeah.
And it's
So we
brick.
kind of,
So that don't help either. The brick just holds the
No.
hot in and stuff.
oh, I know.
McPike is
So-
falling apart, is what I heard. I heard someone told me that McPike was you can only do the basement and the one room upstairs. That's it.
You can only do the basement. I mean, the building has been condemned, and so everything was always done in the basement anyway, all the
Oh, okay.
tours and stuff. It is safe enough for, well, Ghost Adventures had to pay a pretty penny. It wasn't, I mean, it was a pretty penny for us. For them, it was squat to be in the house. And, but the first floor, they're finally getting it to where, let's just say in one room, you could look down and see the basement. That's how bad the floor was.
That's pretty bad.
When we first went
Can't
there,
get any worse than that. A hole in the floor.
Nope.
let's say a whole room was missing. If you took the wrong step, you were going into the basement.
Damn.
The hard way. But when we first got there, before we were volunteers, the sunroom wasn't there. There were very few windows in the house. The porch was not done. It looked like the old pictures that are online. Now, all the windows or the front part of the house, it used to be that we would have to take everything out of the house, or every camp out, everything that was for sale, all the merchandise had to be brought outside. Now they have all this merchandise set up inside, which is really nice because, they don't have to keep moving it around, and Sharon's not young. She's not old by any means, but she's not young. And those stairs are horrible. The bottom one is broken, so you got one spot that you got to really step up high.
Take the double step.
Yeah. And they're marble, so they're going to be expensive to get fixed.
Oh,
but
wow.
but I'll tell you, that place has changed a lot over the years. It is so much better than it used to be. So, but I'll tell you, I can't wait to go back and see them in October. We haven't seen Sharon and George, 3 years?
Yeah.
3 years since we've been there. So, but if you ever get a chance to go.
Yeah, she's a friend of mine had said that she was offering all kinds of tours. It was kind of reasonable too. It wasn't too expensive. I think she's opened it back up, or she's advertising to get more ghost people in her for ghost hunts and stuff.
Yeah, so what you can rent it from her pretty cheap. That's the one thing. If you decide to go on one of the events that she has there, like you just want to go and just check it out, go, May, June, June, July, August. It's nice and cool in the basement. I'm just saying, it's not hot down there. After the 1st of September, every tour is sold out every time. So
Friend
if
of
you
ours
want
was
to try to
looking
get
do it
one
for her
alone,
birthday.
when we went the first time, the only paying customers were me and Ron and our kid. My 50th birthday party, nobody showed up.
Oh, jeez.
Back, what was that, 9 years ago? Nobody showed up for the camp out. The only people who had paid had been me and Ron. Even though we were volunteers, we still paid to help get the mansion going.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I ended up having my 50th birthday party private at McPike Mansion.
There you go.
There you go.
And Sharon bought me a cake.
There you go.
There you go. Hey, and a cake. There you go.
So like I said, it's one of my favorite places to go. And I wouldn't trade any of the friendships I've made there for anything. So if you show up there like during the day, if you're nice, she'll walk you around for free. She'll let you go around.
That's
take
one about the
pictures.
only places that we haven't investigated over there was McPike. So
Yeah.
we might have to rent it out and just go do it, just like a
Yep.
private.
Yeah.
Maddie does the YMCA, She works
YWCA.
YWCA. Sorry, I keep saying YMCA. The
Hmm.
YWCA with Mark and stuff with seeaghost.com.
Hmm.
She does it with them.
Hmm.
And then we done Mid Springs. And then other than the church, you can't get in the church anymore. So
Yeah.
we had to go over and check that out. We've done Cheney, which is in Jerseyville there.
Yeah. Have you been in the Enos Sanitarium?
No, where's that at?
You know that, so when you're looking from the river
Mm-hmm.
towards Alton, there's
Mhm.
this building that has this round thing up on top.
Yeah.
That's the Enos Sanitarium.
Oh,
It's an
wow.
apartment complex.
Ah.
So you'll have to check out the history on it. It's very interesting.
I have to find someone that lives there and be like, "Psst, hey, can we come over?"
They put us in. We went on a walking tour in 2009, and they took us in there down into the basement area, and you could hear stuff. They said it was part of the Underground Railroad. And like I said, this is right around the time that they had just found out that the Unitarian Church had found that it had this huge spot back behind a wall that they didn't know was there because it was all dirt. They had to crawl to get back in there. And that's, I don't know if they ever cleared that out of all
No,
the
it's
dirt.
still because I remember our friends were there when they went there for Troy had the last tour ghost hunt there. They were in the
Mhm.
basement and you could see the dirt where someone had to crawl back, where they would literally have to crawl back there to the back of the
Mm.
basement there. So I don't think they've dug
When-
that out yet.
When you say can you hear me?
It's her. Oh, okay, now I can.
Yep. There we go.
You kind of
Okay.
froze up there.
So I
When
asked,
I say what?
when you say Troy, do you
Mhm.
mean
Yes.
Troy Taylor?
Yes.
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 Okay.
The only Troy the only Troy that's put Alton on the map. So yeah, it's Troy Taylor. I'm not a fanboy, but we just went to his Paracon
Paracon.
2 weekends ago. The American Hauntings.
I don't have anything to say.
Yeah, I feel he's just another man to me. I mean, he puts his pants on the same way I do. And everybody loves Troy.
I'll tell you my thought later on. I am not saying it publicly, but I will say
I do admit though that he has put Alton, like, he's given Alton a good name and for what he does over
Mhm.
there.
Yeah.
Not saying that like everything that he does or what he does and things that he does, but he has helped Alton and stuff like that. So that's all I'm going to say about that.
Yeah. Well, the first tour we took was his.
Yeah,
There in Alton.
the walking tour.
That was the very first tour that we took in Alton was his. I do own 3 or 4 books by him. I own Haunted Alton in 2 different editions because I won one, and I from McPike, as a matter of fact, I won that one. But I had bought one long before. In fact, the reason that we became tour guides in Atchison, Kansas, was because at one time I knew more about Alton, Illinois, that was 300 miles away from us, than I did about any place near where we lived. So I decided at that time I had to learn something about some other place.
And we're going to Atchison.
So,
Actually,
and I also have his other book about the Villisca Axe Murder House.
Mm.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we're
I
actually
haven't had to read it yet.
We're holding an event at Atchison,
Mm-hmm.
at McAteer Villa in August.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So I know. Let's say I've known the people who owned it before the lady who owns it now, and I met her 2 years ago.
Stephanie.
We met Stephanie there with Katie and Katie Stafford, and of course, when we used to do the tours, I used to do the bus tours, so I know everything that there is to know about Atchison and the truth, and the lies about Atchison.
Mm-hmm.
Atchison's a little haunted town too, man. That place is it's got some
not as
history
much
to
as
it,
you
too.
think. Not as much as you think.
Oh, really?
Yep. Like I said, I know the secrets. That's why they don't want me back. But like I said,
Yeah, I
we did
mean
it for
they
7
have
years.
what they have Villisca Axe Murder, they have McIntyre Villa.
The Villisca Axe Murder House
Sally
is actually
House.
in Villisca, Iowa.
Oh, it's what else is?
Yeah.
Oh, the Sally House is in.
Yeah.
Just
And
Sally
the Sally House isn't worth the time of day.
really.
Just saying. 7 years of it, I was on Ghost Adventures for it, and I used to believe everything. Basically, the house got cleared, and whatever's in there now has been conjured by whoever's been in there.
Hmm.
Like I said, I got stories. I can tell them to you, but I know when it was cleared and how. And
Right.
we went there for a month after it was cleared. Nothing.
Nothing.
Not a thing. And we ended up quitting because my daughter was having a baby. And so, but if you talk to some people there in town, they'll say we were fired, but we weren't. Our daughter was having a baby and we lived 90 miles away. And I did not want to be tied down to the Sally house and not be able to get home to help my daughter have a baby.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So, but like I said, I can tell you stories, lots of them, about a lot of different places. But, you know, one of the interesting things is the Villisca Axe Murder House and the Sally House have the same street address.
Wow, I didn't know that.
The only difference is directional.
Huh.
So Sally House is north and the other one doesn't have a direction.
Huh.
Yeah, Atchison's a little weird town. I mean, when we went there, it's kind of I mean, being those towns that were built on the hill like that because of the rich, you know, it just all seem to be creepy. St. Joe's the same way.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of their
St.
houses
Genevieve
are built up on the hills, you
Yeah,
know.
St. Genevieve is weird. I do have to agree there.
Yeah. I mean, I think, well, the rich really wanted to be built on the hill anyway because they wanted to look over everybody else. So,
Well, Atchison has been flooded so many times. Back in the 50s, they were flooded twice in 1 year.
man.
Yeah, like I said, I got all kinds of history for you. But this show's not about me. So, but yeah, the McIntyre Villa, you guys are going to love every second of it. If you get a chance, go have dinner at the River House. It's also haunted. We used to do the tours there when it was owned by some other people.
You got to remember that, Mo, the River House, because we always go
The
to
River
Soulz.
House.
Yeah, it was on my ghost story. The first time we went there was right after the night they filmed for my ghost story there. And it was a very interesting night. And it was so interesting that we went to the owners and said, hey, what if we do this? And they made some good money off of dinner and a ghost hunt.
Yeah, everyone wants dinner or a ghost hunt.
Yeah, our first one
dinner
was
and a ghost. That's
Valentine's
great.
Day.
You get fed and then you get to just sit there in the quiet.
You want
Listen
to hear
your
what's really
stomach
funny?
rumble.
We're still friends with the people who came on the first one.
Oh, cool.
That's really
So,
cool.
but we met
Yeah,
them.
we've been to Atchison 3 times. We've been to McIntyre 3 times. And I think every time we've gone there, we've done the local Subway shop there. The people know us.
They
We
know-
walk
yeah,
in
they
with our
know us in
shirts and they're like,
Atchison.
oh, you guys are back.
They'll come on our
So-
we'll do like a live that night or something just to be on there, and they're like, "Hey, it's the people from Subway. We're cleaning up." It's
You want to
funny.
hear what's funny is we were there at the Sally house one night and our friend Rick Rose was doing a live there. And while we were there, he mentioned that he was hungry. Okay. Somebody sent us pizza from Pizza Hut. Okay. And I know you drive right by it. You probably don't even notice that it's there. But
Yeah.
they had a fight over who was going to deliver that pizza because all the young guys wouldn't do it. They sent the oldest guy they had to drop the pizza off.
That's funny.
So needless to say, that guy got a really good tip.
I bet.
So it was
I'm
like,
not going to that haunted place. No, I ain't delivering
that's
pizza
what it
there.
was.
Sally House. Heck no.
Now across the street from the Sally house, the Glick mansion, haunted. if you can get in there. I don't know if it's still a bed and breakfast or not. That was haunted.
Yeah, I know Amelia Earhart's house is not haunted or nothing, but it's still Atchison,
cool.
Kansas. It's in there. It's still something history wise. That's there.
For Amelia Earhart's grandparents, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean that's what I said. Atchison's got so much, that for that little town, as little as a town it is, it has a lot of stuff.
It used to have well over 35,000 people. Now it's lucky to have 10.
Yeah.
It's someplace that at one time I thought that I wanted to move there. I wanted to be their tourism director. I was ready to quit my job and everything. And then I realized if I lost my job up there and I had a place to live, I didn't know where I would go to work. Everything's too far away.
Yeah.
So that was my thing. And I know quite a few people still in town. I haven't only been up there since 2017, 3 times. The minute that I was done with the Sally House, I stopped. I mean, I was obsessed, and I know people like that are obsessed with a location and they can't get it out of their head. And I've got stacks upon stacks upon stacks of research that I did on Atchison. And I can tell you, I've probably forgotten more of it than I have. Because I didn't need it anymore. But like I said, that's a long story, and I just hope you guys have a good time up there. And
we usually do. We're doing Atchison on Friday, and then we have Glore Psychiatric Museum on Saturday. So it'll be a fun.
I've never been there. I've been by it a few times. I've just never been in there.
Yeah, it'll be our 4th time there. Maddie?
Yes. Yeah. 4th time.
Yeah. 4th time there. Yeah.
And then
3rd.
you guys are going down to Paragould.
Yeah, that's next 2 weeks, and we're doing the Scare City Paranormal Horror Fest.
Yeah,
that's down there by Santiago Cirillo and Haya Nation and Scared City Haunted House down there.
Yeah, Carl will be there. We had planned on coming, but family stuff got in the way.
Yeah, Carl does the engraving, right?
Yep.
Yes. I told him he's like, I remember you from, we were on one of Santiago's lives, and he was like, oh, I remember you. I was like, yeah, we met at Joplin.
Yeah, we were all kind of memorable since there was so many people there.
And there was like 35 people that showed up the whole weekend.
I felt so bad. But I will tell you, Joplin is a weird town.
We didn't know what to experience because that was our first Paracon. So 35 people, we didn't know. So, I mean, we didn't know,
I loved every minute of it. I'll tell you, I loved every minute of it. I liked the smaller venues, but that whole area was brand new. It was all rebuilt after the tornado.
Oh yeah, that's right, because the tornado came through. But we've met some really nice, like we've met you guys. We met Krista and Brandy from Blondes and Booze with Erica, and then we met Heidi Taylor, which is one of our great friends right now. She works with us, and she's done a lot for us, and she's proceeded to do it and stuff. And we met her there. Dave, we met there. Was it Lisa?
Yes, Lisa out of Kansas City.
Yeah, she did. They were doing that research of does things happen at a certain time all the time and stuff. Yeah. I'm
friends with all of them. In fact, I investigated with Dan, my husband, and I. We went out to Utica to investigate the tavern that he worked in at the time. This was back when PRI was maybe 2 years old. So I guess we know. What's funny is we do know almost everybody in the paranormal in some way, shape, or form. I can tell you that, a story about somebody. And they're always usually very good stories. They're usually, amazing. Like when I remember meeting Heidi. the first time. She was at a Paracon, and I was just walking around. Not a Paracon,
Metaphysical
Mystic,
fair.
the Mystic thing,
Metaphysical. Yeah.
the Kansas City Metaphysical Fair.
Yep.
And I'm friends with her and Lena and Shay.
Sylvia and Jay.
Yeah.
I would say
Shay
Sylvia
was
and
just
Gigi.
gone not that long ago.
Yeah,
Who?
we do their metaphysical. Casey Metaphysical. We're exclusive ghosts for them. They asked us to be exclusive with them, and I said sure.
Mhm.
I said as long as you don't bring another paranormal group in. So
Yeah.
we're kind of exclusive with them and stuff. So we don't do, but we do their ghost hunts on their events. The weekends they have, we
Yep.
usually do an event somewhere in that area that they're at that we're doing. Like they were in Nashville for the Galaxy Expo and the Galactic Expo, and then we did like the Lots House Museum down there,
Yeah.
which was really good. It was a battlefield.
Isn't that an amazing building?
Yes, it is.
Oh my gosh.
That was
yes.
me and Maddie's first time doing a battlefield,
Yes.
and just the energy and the shadows running everywhere behind cars and running along fence lines and stuff like that is just. We were sitting on the porch, like, did you see that? Did you see that? Did you see
Just a
that?
whole new
went
energy.
there- We went there a few years ago, and it was I had a concussion. So let's see, it had to be 4 years ago because Dave's baby was just being born. Addie was born the day before. Okay, I know when it was, but we went down to Franklin and we checked out the Lots Mansion, the one across the street that's part of the Park Service. We went over
yes.
there, and then we wanted to go out to Zilla. We couldn't get out there because we were heading down here to look at houses down to Florida. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, there's so many things in that area that I'd like to go back and do.
Well, that whole area, like when he was telling us, Tom was telling us. That's right,
Yeah.
Maddie. It's Tom, right? Yeah.
Tom.
Okay,
Thomas.
Thomas. Yeah.
Thomas.
When Tom was telling us is like the area just alone that everything is built up on, all the restaurants and everything is haunted. Everything's haunted there because it's the whole battlefield. It's,
the Dobbs down the street.
Thousands of people. Yeah, the Dobbs down the street is haunted. He's just like everything is because they built everything on top of that battlefield.
Yeah.
So, he's like 125 yards down the road. There's a ditch that has Confederate soldiers just piled into. They made a trench and then they just dumped all the bodies into that trench. So they didn't even give them proper burials or anything like that. They're just bodies. So people are just spirits and energy is just roaming everywhere.
We went to Gettysburg and same story. Every place you walk by, now the Giant wasn't haunted. I'm going to tell you that now. We walked through Giant, it wasn't haunted, but I think it was far enough off the battlefield where it wasn't. But in the old downtown part, I had told my husband years before, I said, I went there probably before you guys, I know it was before she was born. So it was been in 1976, 77.
I went
7 to Gettysburg. Yeah. I'm 29. I don't know how old I was then. No, I was 12. Okay. So I was 11 or 12 years old.
I would say you said you were 59. You're only 6 years older than I am. So we're pretty close.
Yeah, I know how old I know really how old I am, but I try to get people to believe I'm 29. but when
I tell people I'm 53, they don't believe me. They tell I'm lying. I'm like, I'm legitimately tell you the truth.
I hate to say this, but people tell me and my husband all the time that we're not the age that we are.
There you go. It's a different era.
Well, I mean, when you tell people, hey, we've been married 40 years, and they look at us and they go, there ain't no way.
I look at my sister. My sister and her wife have been together this the 29th. They've been together 47 years. And I'm like, man, I just don't believe you guys have been together that long. And I'm like, they've been together for that long. I was just crazy.
It's a lifetime.
Yeah.
And I hope everybody can find a relationship that's this, I don't know, this forever.
Yeah.
So it still astounds me, though, when you say forever when you're 20, you really have no concept of what forever is until you're 50 and you're going, oh my God, this is forever. And I mean, I know my mother-in-law was married a lot longer than we've been married, and I hope to make it beyond that, So, and I hope that for everybody, because a relationship is necessary to make it through this life. So, but that relationship is also important when it comes to death for our investigations and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if Maddie, you didn't put it. Was it your mom, or was that put it like, oh, you're 1 year closer than?
Oh yeah, my mom. She's like, oh, you're 1 year closer to us investigating you.
Yeah, I was like, what?
That's crazy.
Okay, well, this is what you say every time you go to the doctor. You just tell everybody they said I'm dying. It's going to be a while, but I'm dying.
Yeah, I'm dying.
Yeah.
We're all dying. Slowly but surely.
From the day that you're born, I swear you feel like you're living up until you're a certain point, and then after that, every day it's like I'm getting closer to dying. I don't feel like that all the time. Today I do. We babysat our grandson today, and I swear it took both of us. And we were used to having two of them in the house all the time, and just this one wore me out.
They get old enough to. I watched my 9 and 7-year-old grandkids today, and it's like I'm glad that age they can play with themselves. They go out and they do their own thing, so it's not having to wear you out. Yeah,
yeah.
They're like, can we go ride our bikes? I'm like, yep, go on. Because we live in an alcove. Yeah, we live in an alcove, so they know they go out there and they ride the bikes out there and stuff.
In the cul-de-sac and yep.
Oh, cul-de-sac. That's what I was trying to say.
So do you shake your head at all the things that they do now that we never would have done as kids?
I don't think they do as much as we did as kids. I got away with a lot of stuff as a kid. Our parents didn't realize what much as that we did because we didn't have phones, and they were just like, go play, come, be home before the street lights come on. And we would be like miles away from the house.
Oh yeah.
On our bikes. We would take off and go and they had no idea what we did. These kids, you can't get them to go outside. They want to play, Xbox, and the 7-year-old wants to play Minecraft and, Fortnite all day long. You care less what goes on. He just drops the remote, goes to the bathroom, comes back.
You know what you ought to do? You ought to get him an old Atari game and say, here, play this, and then we'll go to something else. Play Pong for a few hours.
He'll look at you like you're crazy and go,
he'd be like, what is this? Graphics nowadays are totally different.
Oh, I know. Could you imagine? But I didn't get an Atari until I was married.
Hey, but it was, we thought it was the greatest thing in the world when we got it. We were like, wow, this is awesome. 3 guys on a little football thing that moved up the road, up the screen and stuff. But yeah.
Or get them one of those electronic football games that, they weren't really electronic. They were electric. You just plugged them in and you put your things on there and you turned it on and they just vibrated.
Yeah.
Can you imagine how bored these poor kids would? Oh, my husband was the champ of the vibrating football game.
Yeah. I remember those.
Yeah, I mean, just the things that we used, like you said, we would go out, we'd be gone all day.
Yep.
And our
we're
parents
the generation of drinking water out of a hose.
Oh yeah. Oh, and riding in the back of a truck.
Yep.
With no seatbelt in a lawn chair that was raised on the interstate. Yep. You're going, yep, did it.
Yep. Now they're worried about seatbelts and kids wearing seatbelts.
Oh, hell. Cars didn't even come with them.
Yeah.
At least not in the back. I think it was only the driver and front passenger had seatbelts. And one of my cars.
Maddie, have you ever drinking water out of a hose?
Yes.
Have you?
Yes. It didn't taste
you
any
drunk?
different. No.
I probably made her do it. I probably
You
did.
did.
but-
You did. When we were when I was little, we used to have the old house, and I'd always play in the sprinklers. You're like, here, go, just drink some water.
Oh, so you probably have mushrooms growing in your stomach.
Yeah.
Probably.
We did. I remember the houses as a kid because I was born and raised in South St. Louis. So even they didn't even have to have a hose. If they had a spigot on the side of their house, we would turn the spigot on and just put our head underneath it. You had to let the water run for a little bit because you never knew what was climbed up in the spigots. Sometimes you turn on, spiders would come out of them, or water bugs or something like that. But once the water started gushing out of there, then it was okay to put your face underneath there. And
here we have lizards that get into everything,
Yeah.
and tree frogs.
And then the people would come up like, turn my faucet off. Because they could hear it inside when you turned it on. They could hear the water run through it. They'd be coming out on the front porch, like, get off my faucet.
Yeah, or the pipes would start knocking.
No.
Yeah,
because they were
the
metal.
good old days.
Yeah.
Gen X.
Yep. Like I said, I
You
think
hear that, Maddie?
we had the best upbringing. We were just free enough to do everything we wanted to do with as little supervision as that was necessary.
Yeah,
true.
And so we all had to be self-sufficient. We all had to learn how to cook by the time we were 11.
I'm 21 now, and I don't know how to cook.
Yeah, she still don't know how to cook.
Hey, I'm learning. I'm learning.
Because your dad, I guarantee, he had to know how to cook by the time he was 11 because his mom was at work and his dad was at work and he was home alone and he wasn't eating anything but pizza rolls if that's all they had.
That's what all I eat.
We
if
have
I'm
peanut
home
butter. Peanut butter and jelly.
I feel like my generation was like the last to like play outside constantly. Because growing up, I would ride my bike and play outside, and there was really no, I mean, the movies, yeah, but there was really no games.
Yeah, but your generation still had computers and video games and stuff like that. We're talking like you would wake up and literally go outside to play.
No, I know that.
Because you didn't have nothing other than watching TV, and then you only had channels. You only had what, 2, 4, 5, 11, channel 30, channel 9.
Yeah.
That was it. You had 5 channels that you had to turn on the TV.
Yep, that's all you guys had.
Yep.
I was in Baltimore. We had a few more, but only because we had Washington D.C. close by.
Oh, okay. And your dad had, and your parents had a remote control. They'd be like, "Hey," they call you from the other room, be like, "Turn the channel."
Yep, and bring me my cigarettes and my Pepsi.
Yeah, go turn the channel. Yep. Turn to channel 4.
Yep. Been there, done that. So
yeah.
But
now we have things that Soul Generation. Now we have things that talk to spirits in the dark.
Isn't it amazing?
Who knew? Who knew?
But
can you imagine ghost hunting back in those days?
Well,
like Ed and Lorraine Warren.
Well, not only Ed and Lorraine, but the other guy, got a book by him over there. What is it called? Dave Schrader and Cindy Kaza were on the show with his name on it. Now I can suddenly not remember his name. Hans, yeah. Holzer, the Holzer files.
Oh, the Holzer files, yes.
And there's so many. I mean, the book I have from him is this thick. I mean, I wish I was kidding. It is a doorstop. It'd also stop a burglar too if they happen to come in. But the stories that he tells of the places that he's been is so detailed. A lot of the things that we get nowadays aren't as rich in detail as it was back in the day, because we rely on video and audio to get through the whole thing. At that time, his audio tapes were private. You know, they were reel to reel. And so you didn't get to ever hear what he had to say unless you were at a special event and he shared them. So they had to write it in a way to where you could feel like you were part of it.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I suggest if you guys have any time to go to the library, look up a Hans Holzer book and read some of the stuff. You'll find out which states truly had haunts prior to the 60s.
I bet there was a lot. Well, I mean, paranormal wasn't as big either, so there wasn't a lot of, and like you said, people are always afraid of what they don't know. So a lot of people still, to this day, they're still like that. They just don't. They're like, "Ooh, paranormal, no,
Well,
don't touch anything on that guy's table. He'll bring something home."
Well, what's funny is that
I wonder who gets that comment.
We get that all the time.
Well, in England and Ireland, Scotland, theirs go back.
Well,
forever.
I mean, I don't know if did you tell her about the guest we had last week on our podcast, Paul?
No, he's from England.
He was from England. He was from Surrey, and it was our first international person. And talking to anybody from that, over in that part of the land and everything, and he said that his friend, I believe, was at a building. And he was up on a ladder fixing a light or something. And he said he heard noise.
What, they were at a house.
And he looked down and he saw a Royal infantry, like Romans soldiers marching through the house.
Like a horse.
A horse and chariot and everything. They were like all marching in this big line. We're marching through the house.
You can only see from their waist down,
right?
The waist up because they were under. No, they were only waist up because they were at a higher level than they were at the point of before. Like the land had been built up, so they weren't. You could only see waist up. You see the chariots, and they could see them all marching and stuff.
So definitely residual.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
I'm like.
This is that book.
Holy cow.
I've seen that book. Doug's got that book.
A friend of mine was at the bookstore, found this and said, "That's Denise." And I do not know. It has 761 pages.
Wow.
And when I said it was a book, was a doorstop, and the words are not big. They are teeny tiny.
Oh, wow. That's a lot of reading.
But you know what? It's quick, easy stories. Like here, I opened up to 53. I don't know if it's chapter 6, story 53. The Octagon Ghost of Washington, D.C. from the Octagon home there. That was Colonel Taylor's house, but I think Dolly Madison lived there for a little while. But that's like when I said it has to be written in a way to where you feel like you're part of the story.
Right.
No video, no audio. This is how you do it. It's amazing. But when you were talking to Paul, so he's saying he saw Roman spirits?
No, this person that saw, they were up on a ladder doing something, and they looked down and they saw Roman, those actual spirits or everything walking, all in soldiers walking in a row, like they're marching. So it was residual.
Yeah.
They were marching somewhere to where they were, but he could see them marching and stuff. And I'm like, we would never see that. We would never see Roman soldiers because the soldiers weren't there. And that was my point of the thing with Paul, was that they have so much more history over there in those lands, in the UK, in Ireland, in Scotland, and all that, because that's where everybody was at first. Everybody was over there first. So they have such, a major history over there, to where we have the Native Americans, and then us, and they have so much. And
and over in the UK, they have such protected history too. Like Paul was saying, like it's hard to investigate over there. And as much as you're like, oh, I would love to investigate, he's like, it's hard because there's so much. It's still not as like, oh, you're a paranormal investigator. Come see our building. It's very much like, no, there's history here. No.
Yeah,
Like
he said it's hard to get into different locations to
Yeah.
investigate because the people are just so protective of what they have and what they are. So
even if
but
they're hurting for money in their building, they will not.
yeah, and it was
Yeah.
kind that's why I said it was kind of cool would be like to really get that Roman, to see an apparition of a Roman soldier and be like,
A whole army
what
of
is
them.
that? I mean, yeah, just to see a whole army walk in, that's pretty
I'll
cool.
tell you, one of the strangest things is seeing a Native American from you don't even know what time frame. Yeah,
True.
it is very strange. I mean, growing up in Baltimore, and West Virginia and Virginia and New Jersey, I was in all of these different places when I was growing up. I saw stuff that I can't explain to anybody, pre-Revolutionary War soldiers, they were just, basically cops, because they weren't at war. They just were military that was there to protect the settlers from the Native Americans or whomever was danger to them. It is strange when you see something that old. Now, where we live, Pensacola is the oldest settlement in the country. Contrary to popular belief that St. Augustine is, it's the oldest city. This is the oldest settlement in the United States down here. We went to Christmas parade. Here, you got parades for everything. Any reason for people to throw beads at you, you got it. Okay. And you don't even have to show
St. Louis.
No, you don't even have to show your boobs though.
No, any reason to drink, St. Louis will throw something.
Oh, I know. And the Pensacola, most of the stuff is very family friendly. It's very nice. So we went to the Christmas parade, and again, I have to go to the bathroom. I mean, I stood there for 3 hours, walked all the way down there, walked all the way back, and I'm talking it was at least 7/10 of a mile, according to my watch. And we get back, and I go, I gotta go. I can't make it home. There was a lot of traffic, and there was a bar and a coffee shop, and it was 9:30 at night, 9 o'clock at night or something like that. So I was amazed that the coffee shop was open. So I walk into the coffee shop and go back and use their restroom. And I have a visitor in the restroom with me, and he wasn't alive. He didn't see me. He was just walking through. I come out of the bathroom, and I'm a little bit shocked because the building doesn't look old. Okay. It looks pretty new. And I asked the owner, I go, what was this building before? He goes, a barber shop. I go, okay. I said, then I don't know what I saw. He goes, well, you look like you saw a ghost. And I said, well, funny you say that because I did. And I tell him, I said,
you say let me just say,
said, so here, this is what I saw. And so the guy sitting at the it was a bar type coffee shop at the counter there. He's going, he goes, what did you see? And I go, well, there was this guy with this really ruffly shirt on. And I said, and he had on like knee socks. I said, I couldn't see his shoes, but I could see, that he had on like tights, and his pants stopped at his knees, and I said, he looked like he had on knickers. I said, but I don't know. I said, but he had on a jacket, and I said, it looked really heavy, like velvet or something like that. And he goes, huh. He goes, did he say anything? I said, no. I said, but I swear it looked like he had on a wig. And he goes, oh. He goes, so what do you know about this area? And I go, Nothing.
Aw.
I said, we just moved here in June. I said, this is the first time I've been down in this area. I said, I don't even know where I am in the area other than I parked across the street. And he goes, we think it was Captain de Villers that you saw. So it was one of the French soldiers, either the captain or the general, because they're both the father and the son were both here. They go, we think that you saw this one, this street over here that I hadn't been on. I was on the other street. He goes, is de Villers Street. And they told me to look it up to find out what I could find out, to see who it was, if that's who I saw. And but from my description, they said, yeah, it had to be de Villers that I saw. And his house is kind of like palace type thing. It's gone now, but it was in the 1500s. And here, he's going, yeah, it was right in this area. And this place was open back then in that time frame. He goes, but I don't remember what it was. So I was like, okay. I said, but I guarantee it wasn't a bathroom that he walked through back then.
No, it probably was not a bathroom. No, it was probably an extension to his bedroom or something that he walked through.
But I mean, where this shop was, it was by itself, and there was a parking lot around it. So it's quite possible something else had been there before. But it was just really funny that we were invited to come back anytime we wanted to. So, and I hear that the guy who's in the coffee shop, they listen to my show every now and then. So hopefully Kava Coffee is listening tonight. And
there you go.
I don't drink coffee and I don't drink Kava, so I don't know what I'm saying. So I just know that they had a very clean restaurant or clean coffee house, and I'd go back.
There you go.
I guess I'd put a sign up.
You were in
I'd be here
Pensacola
again.
Pensacola.
Yeah, you were in Pensacola.
When?
It's in the Panhandle there. Remember when we went to Orange County? We went to the aviation museum.
Yes.
Watched the Blue Angels practice.
Yes,
actually,
that was really
they
fun.
fly over every now and then.
Yeah, we went. We were on vacation. I'm a big aviation guy. I wanted to fly jets.
Well,
in the Navy, that's what I wanted to do.
Well, let's throw back to you and Mom were going to Las Vegas while it was my birthday, so I got a trip to Orange Beach.
No, this was way before we went to Vegas. It was the very first vacation we ever went on.
I love Orange Beach.
No,
that's where a bunch of the sharks have been seen lately.
Oh yeah, they got a bunch there. I don't think that was your birthday weekend.
Yeah, because we've only been to Alabama twice. Once was for softball, once was with.
But I'm a big aviation guy, and we were there at Orange Beach, and I was like, "Oh, what's things to do outside of Orange Beach?" Because we went to like the zoo there and at Gulf Shores, and we did all the tourist, things and everything. And then I saw, the Blue Angel. I saw the aviation, museum.
Right there on the base, yeah.
Yeah, right there. And they were like, "Oh, the Blue Angels will be practicing tomorrow at this time." So I was like, "Oh my God, we got to go." And it's only like 30 minutes from Orange Beach or what, Gulf Shores.
Yeah. On a good day, it's 30 minutes, but other times it could
this
be
was
45
like
minutes to an hour.
It was during the week, so it wasn't
This was
too
like
bad.
in September.
Yeah. So we went there and watched them, and one guy went up and flew, he came back, and they were like, "Well, there's some storms in the area, so we're going to wait a couple minutes." And then the guy took off again and flew around, and they canceled the practice. I was like, "Oh man, I thought I was going to see the Blue Angels up close, up close practicing." But they came down and like signed autographs and stuff like that. I got to meet them,
pictures
and stuff. And then
the parade.
Yeah, and then we went into the museum. We spent all day there, and I got to sit in. I actually got to go fly in the simulator that actually does a 360 and barrel rolls and stuff as a jet, because I wanted to fly jets. Was what I wanted to do.
So you were in the Navy.
I didn't get into the Navy. I was I had the eyesight. I didn't have the intelligence to fly the jets. Apparently, my my military scores weren't very good. I was going to be a mechanic. I was going to work on them since I couldn't fly them. I was trying to get as
Was-
close as I could to the jet. So
So did you go in the military?
no, I went twice, and I was back when I was able to go into the military. They were picking and choosing who they
Yeah.
wanted because they were at the time of no war. The Gulf War was just starting, so it wasn't, nothing major in Iraq or over in the Middle East. So they were picking like, you had to be like a certain weight and a certain height and,
They were
all
Very
this
picky.
stuff.
picky.
They were
Yeah.
very picky at the time. And I was like a half an inch of body fat off of making it into the military. I
My
did it 3
husband was-
times.
So I met my husband at Blytheville Air Force Base. So my husband was in the Air Force, and I met him because I was an ex Air Force wife as well at that time. So and then Carl, our producer, he was in the Army. So most of the people related to the network that we're on tonight is military, first responders, that kind of stuff. So anything like that, we're big on veterans.
Hmm.
Yeah, I
Especially
tried
that
to.
one.
Yeah, I tried to. I went
You.
for the physical. I was an inch of body fat off. I was in June now in St. Louis with the humidity, running with a trash bag on, doing what I had. Went back again. I was a half an inch of body fat off, and then the third time, I was still a half inch of body fat, and I was like, I looked sickly for my body size, and they were like, nope, and I was like, you know what? I was like, I'm done with the military.
Well, they did. They sent Ron in same sort of situation. He was already in the military, and the base commander thought that he was too big, that he was fat, and he wasn't. He was, he was lifting weights. He was.
Wore shirts out. They weren't tucked in.
Yeah, they wore their shirts out. They didn't have to be tucked in at the time. So the guy thought he was fat, but he didn't see his waist.
Right.
And didn't see the fact that he was benching more than his weight. When I met him, he wasn't even. I think he was maybe 167,
75.
175 maybe. And they kept telling him his BMI was too high, but yet you couldn't find fat on this guy back then.
Yep, that's what they were telling me.
I take credit for the
body
fat
mass
now because I'm a good
index.
cook.
Yeah, and I think that was like, in boot camp, I would have lost a half an inch of body fat. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, and so I was just frustrated. I would have made a life of it. I would have been in the military my whole life. I went to a military high school where we had to wear a uniform every day. It was a Navy high school. It was an ROTC, so we had to wear a uniform every day. We had inspections on Wednesdays, our dress uniform. So I knew what the military was all about, and I loved it. So yeah, I'd have been a military lifer. I would have been in the life of the military. So,
well, you might want to check out the Blue Angels schedule for homecoming. They're going to be flying this time with the Thunderbirds.
yeah, they were just here in St. Louis.
They were.
2 weeks
I
ago.
work in Chesterfield where they were doing all their practicings before their show.
Yeah, they had a big air show here.
Yeah, and you could just hear it the whole day. Just
We were driving
around.
down the highway when they were flying over. It was pretty cool. I was like,
Yeah, here we have practice 2 days a week, Tuesdays and Wednesdays. And then they do, because they're going out every weekend. The people who live here don't get this. They don't have the air show. Our air show's in November.
Mhm.
And so they're doing a thing with the Thunderbirds. So I think
Cool.
that's going to be interesting to see the two together.
and don't they have a female now?
Two.
Yeah, they have 2 females now. Yeah, that was a big thing I saw, that they actually have 2 female pilots now. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah, they take turns. Usually only one flies at a time. But
They're amazing.
Yeah,
what
when
they can do with
we
those
had
jets.
the parade, we got, you could meet them when we had the parade and the Mardi Gras parade and the Christmas parade. So if you ever get a chance to come for any of that stuff, do it. I would say Air Mardi Gras is safer than New Orleans. But there's more than 150,000 people, they said, this last year at our Mardi Gras parade.
Ours is crazy here in St. Louis.
Oh my gosh. Again, like I said, if you give any reason for St. Louis to drink, they go drink.
Mardi Gras on St. Patrick's Day.
Yep.
Well, this year they were very close together.
Yes, they were. They were only a weekend apart from. Yeah.
We had, so our Mardi Gras season starts on January 6th. So
I don't remember when. Well, ours always starts the Black or Ash Wednesday.
Yep.
Right.
So whatever Ash Wednesday.
On what is it called? Shit, I forgot what it's called. It's a Catholic holiday, but it always starts on January 6th and goes until Easter. So right before Easter. So we can find a Mardi Gras parade here every weekend from January 6th through that. So,
wow.
I probably got 60 pounds of beads from the 2 parades. Okay. 3 parades actually, because we went to one here in Milton, and it was fun. It was really fun to go to these parades. We met lots of people. We took my granddaughter, and she ended up giving beads to people behind us because she didn't think they were getting any. I was like, you can't run off though. So she was born in Vegas. So my kids live in Vegas. But yeah, if you come down here now, it is totally different than it was when you came that first time to Orange Beach, because that 2-lane road just gets so backed up.
Well, I know last time we were there was right before they had the tornado or the hurricane.
Hurricane. Yeah.
We were there, what, 3 weeks prior?
Hurricane Sally?
Which time?
The last hurricane that took, the shop on Gulf Shores that has the big shark.
Yeah, the one that took that all out. Yeah, we were there. We were there, and then 3 weeks after it had hit.
They hit the tornado. It hit right there in Gulf Shores, the main hurricane. The main cross, the big intersection. So
that was Hurricane Sally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it tore that whole all those gift shops were all damaged and everything there right there through the strip there on the ocean front there, all the houses there and everything. We were literally there 3 weeks prior to that.
We were in New Orleans 6 weeks prior to Katrina.
Oh, wow.
That's a devastating one. That one's still still crazy.
Well, they're still cleaning up from Hurricane Sally. Hurricane Sally wiped out the Pensacola Bridge.
Yep, that's
the bridge that comes over. Ain't that the bridge that comes up over Gulf Shores?
No,
by Gulf Shores there.
No, that bridge is the Perdido Key Pass bridge.
Yeah, that's it. That's what I was thinking of. Okay,
that bridge is fine. That didn't have any problems. And
they were working on that when we came there.
Well, no, not the Perdido Key Bridge. We're talking about the Pensacola Bridge, the one that we pay the toll to go over.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we pay a toll to go over this one I'm talking about. So it wiped it out. They had to rebuild it, but it used to go from 4 lanes and it used to go from 4 lanes into 2. Now it goes from 6 lanes into 2.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but I will say as far as beaches go, I like Gulf Shores for the sights. The birds will come. You can walk almost right up to the birds.
Mm-hmm.
The big, huge ones, they'll be right there. We just went swimming at Perdido Pass. That's the one that's just at Orange Beach. And that one was okay. I don't know if I'd go back there. There was too many boats going through, creating a current. And that's where the sharks were, out there in the ocean. But I can't complain about that because the beach that we go to, Pensacola Beach, is the one that keeps making the news.
Yep, that's the one that keeps making the news.
And
is that the one that was got the 4 guys that were missing?
That's Panama.
Was
Panama.
that
I think.
is that where the 4 guys were
Panama-
missing in the
no,
ocean or whatever?
No. Panama City Beach is the one that the people are missing.
Oh, okay.
Pensacola
They
is the one with
had,
the sharks.
Yeah, they had 3 guys from Alabama that drowned last week, and then there was somebody else. But yeah, we had just been there back.
When did that happen? People missing.
Are these the ones that drowned that you're saying that were missing?
Yeah, there was like 4 of them that they were
Yeah.
missing. The ocean, the undercurrents or whatever took them. The riptides took them out, and then
Yeah.
they couldn't find them and stuff. Maybe they have found them now and they drowned.
Yeah.
they
It
were
was
that
maybe
was-
the same
That's
people.
what had to do. They took them out and they couldn't have. They hadn't found them at the right away yet. So
The
Yeah.
recent news that we've seen on up here in St. Louis was that there was just search parties. We haven't heard anything.
yeah,
Other than
When
that.
was this?
last
Just
week.
recently.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
last
like
week.
last
And
week.
they were found because I knew about there were 3 guys from Alabama and one.
Yeah.
So that probably was them. Yeah, that probably was them
Yeah.
then. Yeah.
And there was a mother and father that were on vacation with their 6 kids that got drowned from Pennsylvania.
That
and then
riptide
another
right now
one-
is no joke.
Mm-mm.
Oh,
Between that and the sharks.
Well, that's because of all the warm weather is causing all that.
Yeah.
The temperature in the water.
it's the rip current is just naturally occurring. It seems like so when you look at the flags, going across, you'll see that this one part near the curve, the Big Bend area,
Mm-hmm.
for some reason that is always the worst, and I think it could be because of the shape of the state. So, and if there's anything going on in the Gulf, guess what we get rip currents.
Yeah, there
And
you go.
what's been going on in the Gulf? Hurricane, the one that just started with an A, and now you got C, this depression C that they just
Barrel.
barrels down the other way. But what was it? He said that one that hit Texas, or not Texas, Tampico and all that. They finally got that one a name.
Last week.
This was today that they named this storm. Chris. That was today that they named it. So, because of all that stuff, we're going to have rip currents. So we have to check the flags every day. If, when we're going to the beach, I always tell Ron, if it's a green flag day, it's a law. We got to go to the beach.
Yeah.
Yep.
They're getting rare. But I will say, we did do some fun stuff. We did New Year's Day. We went to the beach. I was in
Can't
the
say
water.
that up in the Midwest.
Nope.
And I made sure I shared pictures with everybody. Thanksgiving, I went to the beach.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
So, but no, all seriousness, I hope that there's, that we have less people that drown. You go to the beach here, you got to watch it. It's not safe.
Yeah.
But I will say, I do like the white sand better than I like the darker color sand. It doesn't burn your feet as bad.
Yeah.
And I
That's
want
how
I want my water and my sand. I want my water closer to the road where I don't have to walk in the sand as much.
That's a workout in itself, walking through all that sand.
Oh yeah, I got plantar fasciitis because of the damn sand. So, but I'm going to talk to you guys about a few more things here. So,
okay.
First things first, you guys have an event coming up in Paragould, and that's next weekend. You want to talk a little about that?
Yeah, we'll be vending at that event. Like I said, it's Santiago Cirillo. He used to be on The Walking Dead. He played Julio, and he's a veteran. It's a big anti-bullying, suicide awareness event that's going on. This is the second year for it. Scare City Productions is a haunted house in Paragould. They have a big haunted house, and they do movies, and they make props itself. They work with him, and they make this big horror paranormal show. Tony Moran will be there, which is the original Michael Myers, and everything. And they have different vendors, and we will vend and everything there. They're having a big Haya Nation Mania, which is a big wrestling event they're having that night on Friday night. Have some old WWE wrestlers are coming and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
Yep, there it is. Yep, those
As you
are.
can see, Carl's going to be there, so he's going
Yeah.
to be sharing some of his etchings. And I
Yeah,
already
he'll
talked
be
with
there.
the haunted ghost hunting housewives and gave them my condolences that we wouldn't be there. And
Yeah,
Keith
they're gonna be
H.
there. We're gonna meet them. Hey, there we are.
Hey,
Look at that. We're
there
ghosts.
we are. I always say it's a really cool place for a bunch of people who like weird stuff to come together.
Yeah,
That's what I
so
like to
there's
say.
gonna be a lot of different vendors and a lot of events
Yes.
going on. You can get your VIP tickets for Thursday night, which will be like a meet and greet, just to meet the actors and stuff that are gonna be there.
Yeah.
And the VIP tickets and the vendors get in. And then that's Thursday night, and then Friday and Saturday are both vending doors will be open to vend and meet and greet. There's gonna be all kinds of different actors there. Some Walking Dead, one guy from Scream, I think, and Leatherface and stuff like that. And then Tony Moran will be there.
Yeah.
And then they'll have the wrestling that night.
Make sure you guys get lots of pictures of the Michael Jackson impersonator that's going to be.
Oh, Nancy. Nancy's
Yeah.
great. Yeah, she does those dolls, man. Those dolls are just crazy. She does the rejects dolls or whatever. She paints them.
Yeah.
She just did the It doll, and that thing is creepy looking. Probably
you could make one of those into a REM pod or something.
Yeah, I'm gonna buy one. If you go on Nancy Ansley is her name. If you go on her like Facebook page, she has like a circus she displays all of her dolls, and it's called the circus or something, and she shows and she makes these weird hats too, like circus hats. And I'm like, well, I might need a circus hat and stuff. But yeah, she does the Michael Jackson show will be on Saturday night. She'll be doing that. She's a Michael Jackson impersonator. Looks just like Michael Jackson. It's crazy. And stuff like that. So yeah, if you're in Paragould or around that surrounding area, come down and check us out. It's gonna be a great time. Anything that has to do with Santiago Cirillo. The man does everything. He promotes so many small businesses and entrepreneurs and everything. And he does books. He has a book called Welcome Home. Or is it The Homecoming? I can't remember.
It's about Homecoming.
Is it The Homecoming? Yeah, it's about a veterans coming home and suicide and stuff. He was talking about it today. We'll be having some at our booth. He's going to give us some of his books to sell for him. I told him that he needs to. I'm all about sharing, and just not me. So I'd give him space on our table to sell his books and stuff when we go to other events. Because people like to read, they like to buy all those kinds of books and stuff like that. So we'll be doing that.
The 22 a day is a very important number for people to remember, because that's how many veterans commit suicide every day. Yep. And that was a big initiative of a friend of mine that died from COVID. And for those of you who remember Rick Rose, that was a big thing near and dear to his heart as well. So it's important that you guys know what 22 a day means.
Yeah, we do. He does hats. You can see him up on our shelf up here. Those are custom made for our podcast and our company logo. He makes those. We sell his hats too. He's actually doing fedoras now. He just came this morning.
Oh man,
they're called Hardoras are now is what he's calling them. But they're like white fedoras, and he's doing like
that's cool.
Jason and Michael Myers and everything. So he's doing those. He's got bucket hats. So Santiago does a lot for the community and for a lot of people, and it's the Haya Nation and everything. It's and stuff.
Nope,
so
say it like how he would.
Haya Nation.
There you go.
So he'll be on our podcast next week. Him and Scott are coming on to advertise, the event going on that weekend and stuff to promote it.
It'll be the second time on our podcast. Yeah,
it'll be the second time Santiago is and everything. But they're on the radio right now. I think Kiss down there, Kiss FM. In Arkansas is promoting them right now. So
they're
getting a big push.
Yeah, we met Santiago by accident at a teeny tiny conference in Mattoon, Illinois. And no, it was not SilCon. It was a scare show. And I've never seen The Walking Dead. I know nothing about it. Okay. I know. I've been under a rock. You either
Apparently
watch
he
The
did either.
just for a couple years.
Well, you either watch The Walking Dead or you watch Supernatural.
Yes.
Supernatural
Yes.
it was. But
Walking Dead it was for me. So yep.
So I never saw it, but I didn't know who he was. And he, somebody asked him to take a picture of us, and that's how we met him.
Yeah.
So-
I didn't even know he was on there, and they were like, he's like, yeah, I was on Walking Dead. I was like, okay.
What episode?
Yeah, what season, what episode were you on? Thinking that he was like a zombie or something. You know what I'm saying? And he's like, no, I was Julio in the prison and all that. And I was like, oh, then I went back and watched. I was like, oh, wow, he really was like a major
Well,
part
I never
there.
questioned whether he was or not.
Yeah, well, a lot of people you don't know because they were zombies, so you don't actually see their face.
Yeah.
So like I could say I was on The Walking Dead as a zombie. I was that zombie in the Walking in the Woods. You wouldn't know. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of a lot of people promote that. They're like, oh, so and so from The Walking Dead's going to be here, and they're like, oh, what'd you do? Oh, I was a zombie in this scene. And they're like, oh, okay. You don't really know who they were, but he was actually, his face was in there. And the story he tells about him coming on the set, because he had no idea what The Walking Dead was.
Yeah.
He was like you. He was under a rock. He had no idea it was about zombies and stuff. And he's like, he gets there and there's a whole row of motorcycles and he jumps on one. He's like,
being Santiago.
Being different, just Santiago, loud and just playing with it. And some kids like, get off that. That's Daryl's bike. And he's like, who the hell is Daryl? Why does he need 20 bikes? Why does he, he didn't know who none of those people were, so it was kind of nice. So,
well, since you've been to the Missouri State Pen, then you've probably met Maggie, who has a picture of Daryl on her leg.
Yes.
That's a tattoo.
Yes.
So, yes.
Daryl Dixon.
Yeah, she's just in love with him. And I just, okay. I don't get it, but that's okay. But yeah, I hope you guys have a great time and that you're safe. Do you have any other events that you're planning on going to this year?
Well, we have that. And then, like I said, in August, July is pretty open for us because it's hot. We don't want to go nowhere that's, you're going to sweat. We come here and sweat every week with our podcast because it's warm. There's no air conditioning here.
Yeah.
Not yet. We're trying. We're building walls and putting up ceilings and stuff to get cool rooms.
Yeah.
But in August, we have McIntyre Villa on the 17th or 16th. Galore Psychiatric Museum on the 17th. Those are events that you can find on our website. Buy a ticket. The 31st, we're at Randolph County. Those tickets, and then September, we have September 21st, which is our Missouri State Penitentiary event. Yeah, our big event. That's our big.
That's our big event. Yep.
Yeah, that's our big event for the year. We're trying to sell, hopefully, between 75 to 100 tickets. So we're climbing. We're getting there slowly but surely. I think we're at 30 right now. So that's still a lot of people. 30 people is a lot. So
yeah, but it's a big enough place where you can have a lot of people and not have overlap.
Yeah.
So,
well, I've been trying to do things different. I know there's a lot of more groups out here doing events. And so you're trying to figure out how can I do something different than this people do? Because we all do the same thing. We investigate. There's nothing that's really hard, to do. So I incorporated Heidi Taylor. And so we're actually doing spirit galleries at our events. You get to come in and talk to loved ones. She calls in, loved ones and talks to them. And she does readings, free readings.
Yeah.
It's not like a 30-minute reading or nothing, but you get to, she'll read your card. So that's with your ticket purchase, you get a spirit gallery and stuff. And then we'll be actually interpreting that into one of the rotations that night. So everybody will experience that whole spirit gallery in small groups, not a big group. Right. So instead of going to the Phasma box, you'll go there. But then Heidi's going to actually do a group where it's just the spirit, spirit gallery with just 15, 14 people or whatever, and everything. So that's going to be kind of cool too. That's something new. Not a lot of people have those at their events, and she does it for us and stuff.
Yeah.
So she'll be coming to smaller
September, you could have a weenie roast. It could be 110.
Yeah, she'll be So she'll be at Glore too. She'll be doing that at Glore. She'll be doing the Spirit Gallery there too, with the readings at Glore and at Missouri State Penitentiary. And then October 1st, we have Melbourne Manor.
Been
And
there,
then-
done that.
We got
That's
an
Ron's
event
favorite
there.
place.
Hey Ron, that's my top two. That's my top two. I love it. I love that house. That place is great. And then we do
about that too.
Yeah, and then we got 3 events here in St. Louis. We have the Witches Night Out in Kimswick. We have a metaphysical fair here in Collinsville, and then we have the Apple Butter Festival here in Kimswick too.
Yeah.
That we do, and then we do the following to finish up our season. That Halloween weekend, we're at the Monroe Demon House, 3 nights, Halloween, November 1st and 2nd.
Yeah.
So you got the Day of the Dead to go with it, huh?
Yeah.
And this is our first time ever. We usually don't do anything on Halloween.
Yeah, this will be our first investigation on Halloween. That's
Yeah.
cool. But the Saturday night event's already sold out because we're only selling 10 tickets to that house.
Because it's such a small
small.
house.
Small house
Yeah.
and stuff. So Friday we still have some tickets. Halloween and the 2nd are all sold out already. So we still have tickets that Friday. But that's our events and kind of what we're doing and stuff like that. I know personally wise, me and Maddie are going to West Virginia Penitentiary August 3rd.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to be amazed at how big it is.
Yeah, and then September we have a little group of 10 people, friends.
It's the week before the 21st.
Yeah, we leave. We're going to Mothman on Wednesday in West Virginia and Pleasant Point. Yeah, is it Pleasant Point?
Mount Pleasant.
Mount Pleasant, right. We go to Mothman on Wednesday. We do Lake Shawnee Amusement Park on Thursday. Trans-Allegheny on Friday. Taking the day off on Saturday, and then doing Sweet Springs on Sunday.
Make sure that while you're near Somerville, that you go to Dave's museum.
Oh, okay.
Dave Spinks has a paranormal store in, I believe it's Somerville.
Maybe we'll do that Saturday since we're off. So we're just going to be like, doing nothing. So Somerville, Dave Spinks.
And you can tell him I sent you.
Okay.
I have a bunch of his books. I love Dave. I've known him since before people thought he was famous. He owns Willow's Weep.
Okay. Yeah, we'll have to check that out. It'll be something for us to do.
He lives in West Virginia.
Cool. Summersville.
Might be a Saturday thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that sounds so familiar. I wonder if there's a B&B that we were looking at in that area. I can't remember. Summersville sounded familiar.
West Virginia is a weird place, regardless. You're going to see stuff that you're going to be sitting there going, did I see that or did I not?
Well, we're knocking it out this year.
Now.
This year, West Virginia is done. I mean, we're doing West Virginia Penitentiary, the other major places in West Virginia. Yeah. I mean, there's other haunted locations. Don't get me wrong.
There's a shitload of haunted locations.
Yeah. I mean, the Appalachian Mountains. Come on. I mean, it's old. Just put it that way.
Just so you know, it's Appalachian.
Appalachian, sorry.
You say it wrong there, they know you're a visitor, and you might get in trouble. Just saying.
And we hear a truck come pulling up behind you on the highway.
It's Appalachian.
My mom is from Saltville, Virginia. Okay. And growing up, I was going to school in Baltimore, and they told us that it was the Appalachian Mountains. It's what it looks like. I go home and say, Mom, Grandpa lives in the Appalachian Mountains. And she goes, no, he doesn't. It goes back to the, what was it? The Water Boy.
No.
Mama says it's the Appalachians.
It's Appalachian.
And now you hear that. Now you'll hear it when they say Appalachian State and stuff like that. Yeah. So just keep that in mind.
We had the Appalachian witches.
You used to drive through there back in the day, and there were no exits. You would go 40 miles and not, 40 miles as the crow flies, and it was probably 80 miles as the car goes. But there were no exits, no place to stop. I mean, Ron drove through that part of West Virginia to marry me. Come find me in Maryland from St. Louis. Drove through there and he goes, oh my God. He goes, there's no exits. No place to stop.
And then if there was, you don't know if you really want to stop at that place anyway.
Yeah.
The thing is I grew up around it, so it's not anything. I mean, you can't tell now. I mean, I sound like I'm from the Midwest. So
Go hang out with the whites. The white family.
I hung out with him, so, and I used to talk so fast that you couldn't understand what I was saying.
That's true.
See? He said it too. It's true. So I would have this. So I would tell people I had the New Jersey fastness, the Maryland words, and the Virginia accent, and you couldn't understand a word I was saying. So living in the Midwest took care of that. So, well, I'm going to wish you guys.
Everybody says we have a twang too. We have a thing when we talk.
Yeah, you do. You have the Missouri one.
I see, and the weird thing is I don't know what that is.
I don't either, man. I'm like, I talk normal. What are you talking about? People are like, oh, you got an accent. I'm like,
oh, I do.
Well, okay, so I could do the news anywhere and people would be able to understand me now, but back in the day they couldn't. But yeah, when there's a lady on the weather station, I think it's Fox Weather. No, it's one of them. She's on there, and I told my husband, I said, she's from Pennsylvania. And he goes, how do you know? I said, it's the words that she's using. So I go and I look her up. Yep. She's from Pittsburgh.
That's funny.
And we were at the Sally house the second time we went there. There was a guy there and he was talking, and I looked over at Ron. I said, he's from Baltimore. He goes, how do you know that? I said, watch. I walked over to him and I said, are you from Baltimore? And he goes, yes, I am. I know my words. My boss, he's from New York, so everything he says is idea. Everything's an idea. Everything has a weird R on the end. And then a bunch of the people I work with are from Minnesota, so I hear a boat all the time. About.
Yeah, Minnesota's always. Minnesota has like Canada, almost like Canada language too that they use. People from Canada.
Yep. And so I kind of laugh about it a lot, but I was just as bad. And so I like knowing where people are from by the way they talk.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Canada, I can wait to see what those ladies talk about tomorrow night. We got 3 ladies from Black Moon Paranormal. They're from Ontario, Canada. They'll be on our podcast tomorrow night.
Yeah.
That area has a ton of paranormal investigators.
Yeah. So we're excited. We've been international 2 weeks in a row. So it's kind of nice to hear something that's not in your states, like we hear all the time.
Completely new.
And we, we always ask people what your bucket list is, and Paul was like, Waverly. We're like, really? That's the place you pick in the United States is Waverly. Like, because there's so many other ones that we know.
He's got castles that he investigates, and so it's a really cool, spectrum to see.
Yeah, my friend just got back from Scotland, and she said, like you were saying, that in England there's a little stigma attached to it. There in Scotland and Ireland, you can go on a ghost tour for $6 or $7 American.
Crazy.
So it's not expensive at all, but of course getting there takes you 2 days to get there from here. But I want to go. I want to go to Ireland. I don't have any desire to go to Scotland only because the food isn't as good.
Yeah.
I'm about the food
if there's
too,
no
myself.
food for me to look forward to, I don't want to go. Well, you know what I'm talking about. I know you got to.
Oh,
you
no.
Plan your trips around.
I'm all about the food.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm all about the food. Yeah.
Our trips here, Our last trip. You want to know where we detoured to go to Andy's Frozen Custard?
There you go.
We don't have Andy's. We
We
have
got Andy's
Freddy's.
in St. Louis.
I know,
Got lots of them.
but
Yeah,
well,
got
we had
lots of
just gotten
Andes.
them in Kansas City 2 years before we moved.
Ah, yeah.
Oh.
So,
You
and I
guys
have
got Whataburger up there. I'm jealous. They have Whataburger.
we got
up in Kansas
Whataburger
City.
here.
Oh man.
We're
Yeah.
But I will tell you, if you get to South Carolina or North Carolina, the
Mhm.
Cookout for fast
There
food,
you go, Maddie.
that place was great.
No, I had it in Georgia, and oh my gosh! Now there's one in Louisville, Kentucky, and or not.
You must have just gotten it.
Not Louisville. Oh, where?
What was it by?
You talking about where Lexi goes to school?
Yeah,
Murray.
Murray State.
Murray State.
Yep. She goes to Murray State. They have one right by them, and she took me there, and it was phenomenal.
Well, you're going to South Carolina in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Really? Where at in South Carolina?
Mount Pleasant.
Oh, we're going.
Yeah.
We're going next Monday. We're going to Easley.
Ah, okay, nice.
Are you going to do a ghost hunt this time, Maddie? When you go?
Probably. Last time, my flight got delayed, so we had to shove our schedule together. But probably maybe this time.
Well, South Carolina also has the Habit Burger. You might want to try that too. It's out of California. It's one of the best burgers I've ever had.
Yeah, my habit.
So, although the last time we went, there's one in Easley. We didn't go there. We went to the Cookout instead because we'd never been there. So, but yeah, every trip we plan around food. So, and it's not like it's because of any other reason other than we can't get everything here.
Yeah,
So, oh, look at him. He looks visible.
I know, right?
Okay, well, what day is your shows on?
Our
What time?
podcasts are on Tuesday nights every night every Tuesday from 7 to 9. That's usually our round. We stop at 9. Sometimes it might go shorter depending on who we have. Like the guy last night, he was about 1 a.m. when we
Sure,
started
yeah,
our
he stayed up
podcast.
to 1 a.m. to be on the podcast.
So
I thought people do that too.
we were like, let's end
We
it
kind of
here.
let him go at like about 2:15, 2:20. We're like, all right, we know you've been up pretty late, so
Yeah. But it's every Tuesday. We go live from Facebook and YouTube. And all of our recordings are on YouTube. We have Spotify for the listening. It's Spotify. Basically, what else did you put it on? That's it right now. We're getting to Amazon, or not Amazon,
Spotify's
but
on.
Apple.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have different paranormal groups come out. We have building owners coming out to talk about their buildings. It's all completely free advertisement. And it's a really cool way to
You got me and Ron coming on.
Yeah,
There you go.
exactly.
October 22nd.
It's really good just to hear other people's stories around the United States and hear about other people's experiences. But yeah, it's every Tuesday from 7. Starts at 7 Central Time. So yeah.
Well, I look forward to seeing more from you guys. I hope you have a safe trip down there.
Yes. Thank
Yeah.
you.
You could always stop in what is it? Do you go by Uranus to get there?
yeah,
Yeah. We
you
passed the
down
sign.
44.
Yep.
Yep.
I
Yep.
hear that
I always
everybody
stop in
has
there.
to stop there. I've never
I always
stopped
stop.
there.
Really? You've
No.
never been in there?
No, because 55, Blytheville to St. Louis is the way we went. And when we come from Kansas City to come down here, we go through Jonesboro.
Oh, okay.
So,
Yeah.
but hang on. I'm going to say goodnight to everybody. And I want to talk to you guys for a few minutes. So,
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
hey, Donna, I love you. Thank you, everybody, for showing up for the show tonight. I really appreciate it. We had a great time with Maddie and Dan. I hope you guys will go check out Haunted Soulz out there. They've got some great equipment and some great shows coming up. So check that out. Join me here. Don't join me here next Monday because we are out of town and Carl is going to be he's going to be busy too, getting ready to go to the Paragold Paracon there. So keep that in mind. But I will be back every Monday night at 7 p.m. Central on the Paranormal Pride. And once we're both back from our trip, we will be back on Tuesday nights at 5 o'clock Central with Paranormal Nation Radio, Not So Normal, and whatever guest or topic we decide to talk about. So join us here on Bill of Rights Network every Monday night and Tuesday night, and look forward to seeing you. Have a good night.